Hi guys, in this episode I'm going to talk about my emergency fund. So yeah, let's get started. So an emergency fund is like the money that you have stashed away to cover your expense in the case of the unexpected. So this include things like if your car breaks down, if you lost your job, if your fridge need repairing, etc, etc. So for me personally, if I'm working 9 to 5 and I'm getting my salary at the end of the month, then I would prefer to have my emergency fund to be 3 months of my salary. But if I'm a self-employed person, then I would prefer my emergency fund to cover about 12 months of my expense. Also, if I'm aiming to have more than 3 months of emergency fund, then I would only keep these 3 months of emergency fund in short-term saving instruments, and I will put the rest in long-term saving instruments such as Tabung Haji or the ASB account. I will talk more about these long-term savings instruments in my future videos. So it's really up to you and your situation to decide on how much you want to save up for your emergency fund. Of course, if you can expect your mom to bail you out every single time, then you can afford to have a smaller pot of emergency fund. But if you are entirely relying on yourself and of course God, then you need to have a larger pot of your emergency fund. So once you have decided on the amount that you want to save up, the next thing is to find a place to stash up all this money. You could just put it under your bed if you are not worried of being robbed and that you don't really care about inflation. But in my case, I'm a bit more modern, so I've identified a few places where you can stash your emergency fund. The first would be the Versa Cash I, and they also have the conventional option if being shariah compliant is not your thing, and the profit and the interest rate will be about 3%, so that's quite good. My only concern is that cashing out from the account could take several days, and that's one of the important criteria that you need for your emergency fund. It's preferable for you to have access to it at any time, but of course there are ways to deal with that. For example, you could leave a portion of that fund in other account that you can access at all time. The next option is to use the TnGo Go Save feature. It has about 3% profit rate as well, and it's quite easy to cash in and to cash out, but cashing out could take up to 2 working days, so that's something to keep in mind. The next option is to use the MBSB Cash Rich saving account. You just need to leave 50 ringgit in your saving account and your balance will be available for you at all time. The profit rate will be 1.8% and it will be credited to your account at the end of the month. And you also have the option to put your balance in fixed deposit with a profit rate of about 3%, and you just need a minimum of 500 ringgit for a fixed deposit of 1 month. The last option that I would go for to stash away my emergency fund would be to stash it in HSBC Amanah Global Everyday account. You won't get any real profit to the balance in your Everyday Global account, but your balance will be available to you at all time, and you do have the option to move your money to a fixed deposit account or to buy unit trust, or you could also move it to money market fund. But then cashing out from the other account to your global everyday account would take a few days, so that's something to keep in mind. Alright guys, so that's my take on the emergency fund that you should have and the places to store them. I hope that is helpful to you, and don't forget to like, to comment and to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video.